Good morning, everyone. I am Junelia Eslava, and our topic for today is the role of designing instructional materials. So, my topic for today is the notion of teaching materials. First, what is a teaching material? A teaching materials is a generic term used to describe the resources teachers use to deliver instruction. Ideally, the teaching materials will be tailored to the content in which they are being used, to the students in whose class they are being used, and the teacher. Teaching materials are a key component in most language programs. The five main components of language are phonemes, morphemes, lexemes, syntax, and context, along with grammar, semantics, pragmatics. These components work together to create meaningful communication among individuals. Next is we have the kinds of materials. First is printed materials. It is serve as a primary source of instruction, or they may be supplemental. As a primary source, distance students might use a textbook and read various units on a specific timetable. Other technologies, such as email, could then be used to ask questions or send assignments back to the teacher. Another is non-printed material. Example of this are film strips, videotapes, overhead transparencies, and 2x2 slides. For easy understanding, examples of print is text include anything we see in writing like poems and letters, and non-print text is the use of photos, graphics, or other images to communicate ideas. And materials that comprise both print and non-print resources can be found in Mozilla Fax or Opera Mini, such as kinds of World Wide Web or www in the internet. Those kind of resources are much helpful to the students and the teachers. Conningsworth the role of materials in language teaching as a resource for presentation materials. Conningsworth summarizes the role of materials in language teaching as a resource for presentation materials. A resource of activities for learner practice and communicative interaction is a support for less experienced teachers who have yet to gain in confidence. Resource of activities for learners practice and communicative interaction is oral activities are popular among CLT teachers as opposed to grammar drills or reading and writing activities because they include active conversation and creative, unpredicted responses from students. Activities vary based on the level of language class they are being used in. Communicative activities include any activities that encourage and require a learner to speak with and listen to the other learners, as well as with people in the program and community. Communicative activities have real purposes to find information, break down barriers, talk about self, and learn about the culture. When we say a reference source for learners on grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and so on, these are the books that have the kind of English books such as vocabulary books, grammar books, and more precisely, these are all English books. This can help you to practice your language skills. When we say a source of stimulation and ideas for classroom activities, examples of these are going to be an activity like think, pair, share, icebreakers, debate. That kind of activities will helps the student learn through exploration and hands-on practice. They will be encouraged to think critically and be provided a variety of experiences. A support for less experienced teachers. New teachers want ideas, guidance, constructive criticism, and encouraging advice. They want a school leader who is well versed in instructional strategies and who can provide meaningful, workable strategies to help them improve their craft. That is the best support a teacher can give to a new teacher. A syllabus is a requisite document for teaching in that it serves to outline the basic elements of a course, including what topics will be covered, a weekly schedule, and a list of tests, assignments, and their associated weighings. In many ways, the course syllabus functions as text itself for each course. It is a summary outline of a discourse, treatise, or a course of study. Next, we have the advantages of teaching materials by Phillips and Shuttlesworth, 1978. So, when we say positive effect on learner motivation, what can you think about it? Motivation is a direct impact on how an individual learns. These effects of motivations is normally far-reaching because it increases an individual's energy level, determines the persistence in reaching a specific goal, affects the type of learning techniques used and an individual's thinking processes. How can you have positive impact on student learning? Easy. Students regularly use their work to examine and reflect on their achievement of learning targets. Students set individual goals and outline the steps required to reach those goals. Students can articulate the required learning targets, and the students know what is needed to move to the next level of performance. Next, we have the authentic materials defines it as appropriate and quality in terms of goals, objectives, learners' needs and interests, and natural in terms of for real life and meaningful communication. They have a positive effect on learner motivation and they provide authentic cultural information. To sum up the advantages, teaching colleagues feel that authentic materials help prepare learners for the real world of communication or guide learners toward the language they need for their particular context. And they motivate learners to learn or to communicate because they help make communication real. Exposure to real languages. The best example is listening to foreign songs is one of the most effortless ways to learn a language through exposure. While working, walking, or waiting for a bus, listening to foreign songs is a way to learn new vocabulary and grammar rules without noticing or putting extra time into it. Related more closely between the classroom and students' needs in the real world. So, examples of these are giving assignments that allows students to share their experiences and their interests, and encourage classroom discussions that let the students be the center of attention. Or the most precisely example for this is interview your students, know them well, and interact with them, talk about themselves. And attend extracurricular activities featuring your students, or visit a site in your student community. Support a more creative approach to teaching. Examples of these are develop your students' creativity in the classroom, create a compassionate, accepting environment, be present with the students' ideas, encourage autonomy, reward assignments to promote creative thinking, give students direct feedback on their creativity, and help students to know when it's appropriate to be creative. Reading texts are ideal to practice many skills. A child's reading skills are important to their success in school as they will allow them to access the breadth of the curriculum and improve their communication and language skills. In addition, reading can be a fun and imaginative time for children, which open doors to all kinds of new worlds for them. These advantages are too culturally biased, too many structure are mixed, preparation consuming time, and materials is outdated easily. When we say culturally biased, it is described as discriminative. There is a lack of group integration of social values, beliefs, and rules of conduct. Too many structures can be mixed, so lower level students might have a hard time decoding the text. Special preparation is necessary which can be time consuming. And with listening tasks too, many different accents can be heard which can cause some confusions. The material can become outdated easily. That's all for my report and thank you.